Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox, and today I want to talk about the NLRB as kind of a companion piece to talking about the FTC. We should also talk about what the NLRB has been doing lately. And while I'm going to focus on what they're doing in relation to Starbucks specifically at the moment, it's important to remember that that's not really the full scope of what they are doing right now. And this is kind of a case like the FTC where they're doing so many things that it helps to zoom in a little bit more closely to one topic. And for that, I'm choosing Starbucks. And one of my favorite sources on stuff related to unionization within America and that struggle in general is this channel right here, More Perfect Union. We're going to see them cited as breaking actually an important piece of information a little bit later in this. But this video, I did want to play just a bit of.
It's like pulling teeth, trying to get anything from this company right now.
Starbucks claims to be negotiating in good faith.
We're committed to respecting the NLRB process, and we are now and will continue to bargain in good faith.
The actuality is that we've only had a couple of bargaining sessions with 2 or 3 stores out of the over 230 unionized locations.
What we've seen from the Starbucks representatives who have come to the table is indignant rage at the mere suggestion that somebody else would have any say in how even the most minor thing is done at the company. They don't want to hear workers talking about where the cake pops should go, let alone what their 401k should be or what health care benefits should be.
And we have to demonstrate to our people they can trust us, and we have to show up.
Could you ever see doing that and embracing the union as part of it?
No.
Our first meeting was January 31st, 2022, 7 or so weeks after we won our election. We were very aware that this was a historical moment. Never before had members of Starbucks corporate been forced to sit at a table and essentially negotiate a contract with their hourly workers. We spent a lot of time talking about this list of ground rules or bargaining protocols that the company and Littler wanted us to agree to before they would even proceed with bargaining.
That took up multiple bargaining dates. That's really not necessary.
We actually did have a chance in that first meeting to go through some of our non-economic proposals. After we went through them, they asked if we had anything that we wanted to add, and I said, yeah, I would like to ask you not to take what's happening in our bargaining meetings and talk about them in your anti-union meetings at other stores across the country. And they took a 10-minute caucus where they went away from us into, a breakout room, and they came back and they said, well, we're not going to agree to that. And within 24 hours, they had taken the 5 non-economic proposals that we had discussed with them and presented it to stores across the country as the entirety of Elmwood's contract proposal. They said, look, they're not even asking for improved wages. They're not even asking for improved benefits. This is all they're asking for, which was completely untrue.
They're playing games to make you feel crazy. It's so bizarre. I don't know.
Okay, so there we are with the definition of gaslighting. Like one of the cases it isn't in here because it isn't as related to the NLRB, but there was a manager at a Starbucks that called the cops on his employees for speaking to him after hours for a couple of minutes about unionizing their store, and he said that they kidnapped him in his own store. So, by that logic, the next time your boss holds you even, I don't know, let's be safe and go with the precedent that was set here at about 7 or 8 minutes past your shift, they are kidnapping you and you should charge them as such. And, if you need a legal precedent, Starbucks managers have already set one for you. So this is really one of the big core cases here, and this is one of the ones that could have some of the biggest implications. So this was a huge complaint. It alleges that interim CEO Howard Schultz made a number of illegal statements under federal labor laws, including video calls where he told employees it would be futile for them to organize and implied promises of increased benefits to those who did not organize, which that right there is a through line throughout this, and just for the record, is illegal. Saying that we won't give you benefits if you organize is not legal. That is an illegal threat, and it continues to happen, right? So this is all kind of centered around the first Starbucks store, specifically the one in Buffalo, New York, and which unionized in December. I believe that this was the one that the previous video was talking about, and this was the case that they were speaking about. And, it's getting to the point where even Starbucks investors are starting to give them trouble with the way that they're dealing with unions. And this is actually, there was another very short, More Perfect Union video where they talked to like some hedge fund dude who was talking about how, they have a more liberal base in their investors, and a lot of them really, they came in with like the certified fair trade and all of that type of greenwashing type stuff, that really liberal shit that Starbucks was getting into as they were expanding to be everywhere and also across from everywhere at the same time. So naturally, there are actually a lot of investors in this company that don't see this take on unions as being good for the company, and it may impact their stockholder value, or the perceived value, because it's very much a vibes game. But you know what? That's not super important. I don't really care what the investors think. I think that is a pressure to consider, but I don't personally care. This was from Common Dreams, which gets into the recent leak. Actually, this was published today, so very recent leak. Starbucks management is reportedly planning to deny new paid leave benefits to unionized workers. Another wrinkle in the company's aggressive and unlawful campaign to stamp out organizing momentum nationwide. According to an internal memo obtained by More Perfect Union, look, it's our boys. Starbucks is set to announce Monday that it is ending COVID-19 sick pay benefits that offered employees 2 5-day rounds of paid leave per quarter if they contracted the virus or were exposed to it. The memo adds that Starbucks intends to unveil new paid leave benefits that include faster sick time accrual. However, the document states specifically that the company will attempt to exclude unionized workers from the new benefits, citing federal labor law requiring management to bargain with unions over any changes to wages, benefits, and working conditions. So how is that bargaining working out? Like, how were they actually... what was your impression from the clip of video that I played at the beginning of this? Because it feels very much like stalling. So this is effectively not giving them those benefits at all. Or at least no time soon. And the one part that I want to get to here is that the memo is this statement. The memo suggests that Starbucks is legally permitted to unilaterally strip unionized stores of the current COVID leave benefits, but banned from implementing the new benefits in those stores, More Perfect Union notes. And what an excellent point that is. Because, it really seems like you can't have this legal interpretation both ways. And they're just interpreting their look at the law in whatever way that benefits them the most. And I don't think that this is really going to stand up well in court. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about this as we go on. But it is important to note that, so we were just talking about Buffalo, New York. So this is what is happening in Pittsburgh, as reported by the Pittsburgh City paper. Okay, so this is only a 19-page complaint compared to the 30-page complaint for Buffalo. But they accuse Starbucks of a myriad of threats managers allegedly made to Pittsburgh-era organizers. According to Union Starbucks Workers United, management at a number of local union stores had sought to intimidate workers and dissuade them from unionizing. A list of offense levied in a press release says this includes threats workers would be fined, lose their benefits, miss out on promised raises, or face other disciplinary measures. In the case of the Craig Street location in Oakland, workers were reportedly told the store could close if employees there unionized. The filing follows a series of claims from local workers who said they were illegally dismissed for their organizing efforts, a specific example of which we'll see later in this video. Across the country, many labor advocates say that the coffee company is conducting a scorched earth policy. So it's not just that one case. There are actually multiple cases. This is... Okay, I don't know what this fucking video is. But, Jaz Brysak, a barista who helped lead the unionization of the downtown store in Buffalo, New York, that the larger of these suits seems to be directed at, and also the first Starbucks to form a union, said Wednesday that her last day at the company will be September 18th. Ooh, well, that was yesterday. Okay. Since that vote last December, at least 238 U.S. Starbucks stores have voted to unionize, according to the NLRB. In a letter to her manager, which Brysak shared with the Associated Press, she said Starbucks has refused to accommodate her availability request for 7 months. So, pretty much since the store unionized. Starbucks has deliberately made my continued employment at the company impossible. And all of these things are just kind of adding up. I actually did a case search on the National Labor Relations Board website, and there are several of these. I chose to look into at least a couple of them because these are all like, you know, this is one of the things that's kind of impressive. There's several cases. They're all kind of aimed at multiple targets. There are actually like... Wow. Okay, so there are a lot of cases against Starbucks, is the point that I was trying to make here. And these pages are actually kind of boring. One of them that I did find, which was particularly interesting, is this one. This was related, I mean, look, I'm going to level with you. This is a really long document. I was just kind of skimming to get some information, but the information here is that a lot of these cases have been consolidated into this single case. And there are still other cases existing outside of this. This just brings a lot of very similar cases together. It seems like they redacted all the specific people involved in this. But the part I wanted to get to is just past this. Come on. No, except for Harold Schultz. I guess everybody knows he's involved. Oh, man. Okay, so these are the grievances here in Section 6. And I'm going to read one of these, and then I'm just going to note the differences between each one that follows. So, respondent by the individual's name below about the dates opposite their names at respondent's store located at the street address in Hamburg, New York. By soliciting employee complaints and grievances, promised its employees increased benefits and improved terms and conditions of employment if they refrained from union organizational activity. These are the people involved in that particular case. Okay, so here's the second case. And I can't highlight because this is a PDF, but it's the same thing. The point is that all of these have the same problem. It is that by soliciting employee complaints and grievances, promised its employees increased benefits and improved terms and conditions of employment if they refrained from union organizational activity. That is what every single one of these says. The only difference is the address. So we have stores in this particular case at this point from Hamburg, New York, Cheektowaga, New York, Chickasaw, man, I can't say it. Depew, New York, Depew, Williamsville, New York, another one in Williamsville, one in Buffalo, Orchard Park, New York, another one in Buffalo, East Amherst, New York, another one in Buffalo. Okay, so and then it gets into more specific stuff. Obviously, this is a really long and boring document. But I just wanted to point out that, again, there are actually It's not just all of those cases that I just mentioned that got merged together. It's other cases as well. It's not like they're putting all of their eggs in one basket, but it's more of an acknowledgement that there are a lot of eggs and that some of them are similar to each other. So they are putting them in a series of baskets and seemingly kind of sorting them out. And I really think that this makes their case stronger because a lot of it goes back to this idea of them making it very explicit that if you unionize, we will penalize you by not giving you the same benefits that we will be giving our other workers, and we may even take away your benefits, close your store, or do all sorts of horrible things to your employment. So I guess the point I'm getting to is that even by focusing this search just to things that they are doing versus Starbucks right now, brings us to a list of related cases, and honestly, this probably isn't all of them, even this. And keep in mind that a lot of these cases actually combine multiple other cases into them, so this may not even really give you a representative understanding of how many stores are filing these allegations against the company and how many very strong cases might hit them. So let's talk about kind of what that might mean. So one of the more recent stories, one of the ones that hit the hardest, is this labor complaint, including over 200 alleged violations. So the regional director of the NLRB in Buffalo, New York, ordered a complaint against Starbucks for 29 unfair labor practice charges that included over 200 violations of the National Labor Relations Act. The complaint stems from claims made by Starbucks workers united against the company in Buffalo, where the union organizing effort began in August. The NLRB says Starbucks interfered with, restrained, and coerced employees seeking to unionize in various ways. And then after that happened, Bernie had his response to it, saying, "Enough is enough." That's how Bernie Sanders responded to the National Labor Relations Board on Wednesday, accused Starbucks of unlawfully withholding raises and benefits from thousands of workers at unionized and unionizing shops in an effort to repress a nationwide organizing campaign. Howard Schultz, the billionaire CEO of Starbucks, must end his war against his employees, reorganize the union, and negotiate a first contract, Sanders said on social media. To date, baristas at 230 of the coffee giants, and actually even more now, this is a little bit older, locations across the U.S. have voted to join the Workers United since late 2021, when an initial victory was claimed in Buffalo. As first reported in the Washington Post, the NLRB complaint seeks back payments and benefits for unionized workers since May, and will require Schultz to read a statement to workers about their union rights, which, oh my God, like, I want this to leak. I want this to become the fuel for some of the weirdest and most fun fucking memes ever. Please, I want them to win this. But specifically because thousands of workers would essentially be getting a retroactive pay raise, which is, memes are cool. But I think that would really be the most beneficial part of this. I mean, that's a lot of people and a lot of money. I mean, this goes back to May, so it's been about 4 months, so that's quite a bit. Then we got, of course, because they always link a tweet. Always. It's 2022. You gotta have a tweet just linked in here. Howard Schultz, the Starbucks CEO, who's worth $4 billion, can afford a $145 million, 254-foot super yacht with a helicopter pad, which, just think about the amount of... helicopters are relatively light because just physics. But still, you gotta have a structure to land a helicopter on. You can afford to negotiate a fair first contract with Starbucks workers who voted to form a union in over 230 locations in America. And damn right. My whole life, this has kind of been the struggle, to where no matter how good we do, what ends up happening is they do some stupid bullshit, they hire good lawyers, and they get away with it. And usually this happens because just it's been a trend of neoliberalism to appoint people who aren't really going to do the work to places like the NLRB and to the FTC. And we're finally starting to see what can happen when those agencies actually step up and to do the job that they were designed to do, which is a desperately awaited and thankfully received improvement to just the neoliberal bullshit that we've been living with for like my entire lifetime. So it's good to feel like in this kind of case we're starting to see a bit of the light at the end of the tunnel, it seems, or some sort of light coming. Maybe it's just a train that's going to hit us all. Maybe that's what the light is. Maybe we have already been struck in the head by a large and painful object, and the light is a wincing pain. Could be that too. But my point here is that there's some hope to be found in this, because, you know, how is this going to advance with there's actually a government agency that is pushing back, that is actually coming at them? I mean, I'm just so proud to see this happen. Like, my country can do the thing. We can actually do the thing. Oh my God. It doesn't solve everything, for sure, but if we can get all the people who want a union into a union, I think that's going to be a real big fucking difference for our future. So, there's that. You know, like this video if you appreciate what the NLRB is doing, or at least appreciate what I'm doing in covering this for you. Because there is a lot to these things. There are a lot of different stories to be told here, from a lot of different places. And even diving into this kind of as both a targeted and shallow look still took quite a bit of time. I mean, thankfully less time than just putting the lens way too effing broad for the FTC, because they're just doing way too much to report on every little thing. But hopefully it brought you some useful information, and if you think so, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm also going to put some links up on the screen where you can donate to help keep this channel funded and, you know, just help me survive in a capitalist hellscape that we are hopefully beginning to escape. Kind of one step at a time at the moment, but we're getting out, it feels like, and that I appreciate. So I hope you can take a moment to appreciate that too, and begin to imagine how we can continue to move forward after this point. Because, you know, that's what a revolution is. It's a series of unprecedented moments happening right after one another that change the dynamics of everything that comes after that moment. And I mean, we're getting there. I see progress being made, and I love it. So thank you for watching, and don't forget, and I love this channel so much that I'm gonna give them another shout out, but A More Perfect Union, great channel, totally recommend them. I'm gonna put a link to them in the description. Excellent. Just check them out, because they, for one, they get it from the workers' mouths. They get it from the organizers' mouths. In that one case, they did bring in a hedge fund guy, because even the hedge fund guys want Starbucks to fucking unionize already, which is telling at the very least.